In the student sentence, those who work in a service industry, um, the instructor marked as a problem. And if you wrote this sentence or are helping a classmate with this, your choices are rather limited. Or the, okay, or maybe um, no article, no determiner. But how do you check that? So um, we are going to, look at our symbols again, and maybe in this case, we'll try to use the bracket here to compare options. So our option here would be or the. So we can begin here with the, the, the bracket, right? Um, uh, the service industry. And so you can see from the results, between the and when this applies to service industry, you have more um, hits with the use of the service industry. Um, you, however, you notice that service industry up here seems to produce, more choices, and we can, click and wonder, does this really mean that there is no determiner, that the more popular use is without or the, and that's not quite the case. As you can see, there is here, and you have the service industry in the next one, and we'll have a look at more. As you can see, um, definition of, in these cases, um, these are not being used in the same way that we are querying, right? You have association after industry here, so it's not being used as the main, noun, but as a complement of a noun or a modifier, and the, right? So uh, we come back to our list here. Okay, so I'm clicking on the plus and negative sign here to get rid of or to show the context sample sentences or sentences that come with the word. So in this case, your best choice here would be the. So the second sentence is a challenging one. My research will make a contribution or contribute to. So you have two seemingly good expressions, but you're not quite sure which one you should use. And so we want to compare, continue to use the brackets. Could um, make a contribution and contribute. Okay, what did we get? Is it possible? All right, I'll get rid of the there. Um, well, could contribute. All right. Um, you have 253,000. Could make, but we're not sure what comes after make there. Um, and it doesn't look like it's just contribution that comes with could make. And so we're not sure. In this case, you may need actually a second query, keeping in mind that could contribute here yielded 253,000 hits, and instead you may want to search for just make a contribution on its own without a symbol, and that expression, you'll have 5,200 words. And so compared to could contribute, definitely could contribute, the more succinct, shorter expression seems to be um, more popular and more frequently used. Here's another student sentence with a problem. Especially, the author emphasizes the need for. Now, in this case, especially is being used as a transition word, and that can be problematic. Um, there are two alternatives, and some students try to find a substitute for the expression especially, or the word especially, and do that by using our question mark, right? Making sure to keep the comma, since we are looking for a transition or connector, and we'll see if we can keep the word author and still find or generate some results. Well, it looks like we have however, right? Finally, or example, the author. I'll add another question mark there to just make sure we can have a more complete expression. Um, okay, so we have, for example, in addition, right? However, the authors. Now, if the intention was to just use um, any transition word, then maybe then you end here. However, if you what you're after, if what the student was after was really to see, to emphasize um, and still want to continue using the expression especially, then we have instead a word order problem. And that's where our curly uh, bracket here might come in useful. Um, and so we could try the curly bracket and the word especially, right? And make sure we have another curly bracket there at the end. Okay, it's not quite curly. Um, there you go. And here what you get is the author especially, with especially coming after. And we want to make sure we are using that and with the right meaning. The author especially draws his attention. The author especially targets those. The author especially encourages its use. And if then, this is what you want, then the curly brackets solve the question or solve the problem. Now it's your turn to use Netspeak. Study the two sentences below and identify the possible problem or problems in each sentence and suggest possible corrections using any of the four Netspeak search symbols.